Alright, so I know you had some questions about ISO causing noise. So first, let me just go ahead and clarify that ISO does not cause the noise. ISO just brings out the noise that's already in the photo. So noise is caused by lack of light reaching the sensor. That's what causes noise. And there's two ways that you can adjust how much light gets to your sensor. And that is through your shutter speed and your aperture over here. Now, basically, the lower the number, the larger your aperture. The larger your aperture, the more light gets in. The slower the shutter speed, the more light can get to your sensor because it keeps the shutter open longer. So this is shot on the R6 Mark II with the 24-105 f4 lens, which means the f4 is the largest it can go for the aperture, and they have the same sensor as the R8. Now, I did rent the R8 for a few days before I rented the R6 Mark II for a few days. I wanted to kind of try them both out, see if I can go with the cheaper option, which was the R8. But I wanted to do YouTube videos with it, and the R8 just wasn't up to the task. It didn't have the battery life, and it would overheat pretty quickly when doing YouTube videos at 4K 60. The R6 Mark II lasted a lot longer without overheating. But let's get to this photo here, which was shot at ISO 2500, as you can see off to the side. This is the raw file. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this motorcycle here. This is at the Zippo factory here in, I think it's Bradford, Pennsylvania. Go ahead and zoom in here. You can see there's no noise in the dark areas here. No noise on the saddle here. It's generously, the neon sign in the background is not overexposed, etc. Now this is edited. So let me go ahead and show you the original. So right here is the original. So in the original, I do have some noise. See, it's not overly noticeable from the full frame. It's only once you start cropping in do you really start to notice the noise. Like you probably notice a little bit here, but when you zoom in, that's when you're going to start noticing the noise. But if you have the raw file, you can also remove that noise through a manual denoising. You could do some color corrections, you could do some softening, stuff like that that would take away the noise. So I think what I did here is I manually adjusted the noise since there wasn't too much noise. And in photos that have a lot of noise, usually I'll run them through AI denoise. But go ahead and undo these edits, and you can see the noise is non-existent now. So let's go ahead. That's without the corrections, with the corrections. You see, you don't really lose that much sharpness. It makes it a little bit softer, and we're zoomed into the point where you can start seeing some of the pixels. So you can see here we start seeing the individual pixels. So you shouldn't be cropping in that much anyway that you would see the individual pixels on the photo. So let's go ahead and take a look at another photo that I took that has high ISO, and that is, I guess, this one right here. This is ISO 2000. This one's an edited photo, so let's switch to the original. So here's the original photo. I got my daughter in the background there. Now, the only place that I notice noise in this photo, and you probably don't see it right now, and that is right here. So right here in the colors, you see a little bit of noise here in the colors when you zoom in a lot. And I did run it through like a little denoise program. Now, again, you can always drop down your shutter speed a little bit slower, but I had the shutter speed up a little bit higher for this one because this ball was actually moving around. So this one was actually going through the track, and I didn't want to get motion blur. So let me show you here. This is before the edits, and this is after the edits. You can see the noise is basically gone. Again, before, after. Now, when you do the denoise, it does soften the edges a little bit. But again, if you're zoomed in that much that you're going to notice it, then you probably need to shoot a little bit closer or more zoomed in with your lens rather than doing it cropping. So I got another photo here. I think it was shot at 1250. So this one's shot at 1250, and this one's basically a nice showcase area here. Let me just go to the original. Here's the original. And you can see in the background, no noise in the background. Now, if you notice like graininess in these photos, that's because these photos actually have grain in them, because they're vintage photos that were taken with grain in them, are supposed to look vintage looking. Like, you can see the level of detail. Like, you can see the noise in this photo in the background that is in the photo itself, not the actual image itself. So here we do have a little bit of noise, but look how much I'm zoomed in. I mean, you're zoomed in quite a bit to be able to see that noise there. But nonetheless, I did run it through a little bit of a denoise, I believe, and some color correction. So go ahead and put it back. Yeah, I did do a little bit of denoise. You can see that denoise is gone, or that noise is gone. It actually took away some of the noise in these photos, but you can still see that the black and white grains in the photo here. Like I said, these photos did have noise in them. Again, you're zoomed in really far. You're not going to be zoomed in that far. So, just to kind of reiterate the point that ISO is not the cause of noise. The cause of noise is the lack of light getting to your sensor. And like I said, slow down your shutter speed if you're getting noise. You should be able to get more light into the sensor. Or you could increase or you can open up your aperture a little bit more, and that'll also let more light in. Now, that's also why lenses with a lower number are more expensive, because they have a larger aperture, which allows you to shoot at higher shutter speeds to get the same lighting than you would on a smaller aperture lens. And one of the reasons why you would want that is because if you're shooting a subject that's moving, then you're gonna want higher shutter speeds to avoid getting motion blur. Like if you're taking pictures at a wedding or someone dancing, someone just walking by or something like that in low light, you're gonna want higher shutter speeds. But I hope this clears it up for you a little bit, and I felt this was a lot easier just to show you rather than sit here and try to type it all out.